What's up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's get right into Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 21, Reunion Part 2. If you're brand new to my channel, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, thumbs up the video if you enjoyed the content, hop down into the comment section. Let's talk about this episode, y'all. So the reunion picks up right where we left off with with Martell not wanting to, or like dragging out his answer as to whether or not he would have married the side chick, whose name is, I believe, Ariane, if he would have met her before he met Melody. So he draws out the answer with this long dramatic silence, only to say that he does not want to answer the question. So then Carlos asks, what was it? Carlos asked him something. Melody said it was bullshit. The fact that he's not even willing to answer. So Carlos asked Melody, does she believe that she was just not enough? He said, I mean, it's in a respectful way, but do you feel that you were just not enough woman for him, and that's why Martell was going off and getting involved with this other woman? Melody says she's not going to accept that because Martell would tell her constantly that she was all the woman he would ever want, or the woman he ever needed. And Martell agreed that he did tell her that. So it wasn't a matter of her not being enough. It was just really him being greedy and wanting more, which he agreed to as well. So then Melody talked about how she remembered when he threw his back out, and how he dragged himself up the stairs and into the bathroom, where he had another phone that he was using to contact this woman with. And Melody said she was never okay with the fact that he was cheating, because there were a lot of people that were like, oh, Melody's cool with him cheating, whatever. And she said no, she was never okay with that. She always just thought that they could work through those issues. And she thought that he would be able to turn it around as her husband. So Maurice and Kimmy both agreed that Martell has feelings for this side chick. And Kimmy said that she thinks that Martell feels guilty about his feelings for the side chick. And that's kind of why he doesn't want to admit it, because he knows that this relationship was founded and based during the time where he was married. So that's probably why he feels away, and why he doesn't want to necessarily admit that he does have these feelings for her. So Carlos asks, have they ever seen him display feelings for this woman that would cause them to feel that he really does have feelings for her? Maurice said no, right? Kimmy said no. Marceau said he has. And he said based on not actions that he would be up on her, but kind of how he would, the way his face would light up when he would look at his phone when she would text or call, and different things like that. Said that she popped up on a guy's trip. And Marcel said that Martell is a completely different guy when he is with her. When he's around her, he's more aggressive. So Tisha is kind of looking like she showed up. So now it becomes this situation where y'all have been around him while his mistress is showing up. And so that's why I'm like, that's foul. Because to me, I feel like you can't sit in Melody's face, Marceau and Maurice, and say that you are Melody's friend when you have actively been around her husband cheating on her, and you're with them too. I think that's bullshit. I honestly do. And Tisha and Kimmy, look at your husbands, because that's bullshit. That's bullshit. So that lets you know that when Martell told you that Marceau has been messing around with women and all this other stuff, Tisha, believe his ass, because if Marceau has been around Martell with another woman, Martell has been around Marceau with another woman. So Kimmy was like, well, Carlos asked Tisha how she felt about knowing that Marcel was hanging around with Martell, and Tisha said she didn't know anything about it, and she's not happy with it. She's not pleased with it because she feels that's foul and bogus to do. Kimmy chimes in and says that Marcel should have left. Maurice said he wasn't there. So then Kimmy is like, you should have left. And Marcel cuts her off. And it's like, and to do what? Go home and tell my spouse? And Kimmy was like, no, I'm not even saying that. So what Kimmy is saying is, I'm not going to sit here and watch you disrespect your spouse, somebody that's supposed to be a mutual friend of ours. I'm not going to sit and watch you disrespect this woman by kicking it with him and his side chick. And I'm on Kimmy's side with that. That is absolute bullshit that he sat there. So then Maurice said that he wouldn't have stayed. He wouldn't have left. He would have stayed because you can't be an influence if you leave. What influence are you giving by staying? Because the influence that you're telling me that you're giving by staying is that you are agreeing with what he's doing. You're supporting what he's doing. I'm telling y'all, Kimmy and Tisha, watch your husbands, because they out doing the same shit that Martell is doing. They just haven't been caught yet. So they cut for break. Melody is in her dressing room talking to her mom and some other people, saying how much she hates Huntsville. She's crying, saying that, being in Huntsville is like a trigger for her. It's depressing for her. Because like Huntsville is a small town. So when everybody knows your business on top of the world, like it's just like a gut punch every single time she's there. She wants to take her kids and just move, but she knows she can't because Martell is not going to let her leave that state and leave that city with them kids. He's not going to let her. And I believe they probably have joint custody, so he's not going to be able to. Kimmy is talking to Maurice, and she said that she didn't like the fact that he said that he would stay and hang out with Martell and the mistress. Maurice then admits to hanging out or being around Martell with her there and says that he thinks staying is being an influence because you can talk to him about what's wrong. And then he brings up all the times that he has talked to Martell, all the times he has talked to Melody about their relationship, and said he's not going to leave a party because someone else is cheating. And my thing is like that's not what we're saying. I don't know. I just kind of feel like them Scott boys, them Scott brothers, and Martell, they're all one and the same. They are literally all one and the same. But if y'all want to keep putting on this bullshit, like it's not a big deal, like it's not, you know what I mean? Like I just feel like it's trash to me. It's trash to me. So you can tell that Kimmy is like kind of looking at her husband sideways because, okay. So then we have Tisha and Marcel in their dressing room. And Tisha is like, wasn't Maurice on that trip with y'all? It was a guy's trip. And so Marcel was like, oh, I don't know if Reese was there. I don't know. So, like, she's like, oh, so you sitting there lying. My thing is, like, Tisha, you know some shit is going on with your husband. I think Tisha knows that her husband has cheated. She knows that her husband is out here living flaw. But she does not want to be alone. So she's willing to let him lie and play in her face. Girl, get the fuck. Couldn't be me. So then we have Destiny joining the reunion, and Carlos asked her about her divorce and why she did not want to talk about it on the show. And she asks it because LeBerick asked her not to. And she said that she didn't want to talk about it because they were still going through it and she was still fighting for her marriage. And just in case, the wrong thing came out, she said because of Law, which is their son. So because of that, she doesn't want anything negative said now in this moment, in the heat of the moment, that her son will now see later on. Something that Martell and Melody did not think about with their 4 kids. 2 of which I'm sure are old enough to get on the internet and Google and, see other stuff anyways. So she said they did not cheat on each other. They didn't cheat on each other. So they don't have to worry about that. So then they play the clip of Martell going to Destiny's shop, her store, and saying that that's the reason that she's going through her divorce is because she talks too much. and her and Melody are the same. So Carlos kind of asked Martell, like, what did you mean by that? And he said that no man wants to be with a woman that is too mouthy and that overtalks him and like kind of doesn't let him lead. Melody holds up some like clown emoji sign, and he was like, "What is that for?" And he said, "No man wants a mouthy woman." And you can kind of see everybody kind of looking at him like, man, like it's always funny how you can see that the three of them, Martell, Marcel, and Maurice, they have this like camaraderie about each other where we are going to defend, 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 deny, deny, deny. And every time Martell says something, they all have been just kind of looking away like, nigga. So we cut to commercial, we come back. Destiny talks about how LeBaric has filed for divorce 3 weeks after the baby was born. None of them knew about that. I guess nobody knew the exact timeline. So she said a part of it has to do with her not wanting to take his last name. So then we have this conversation where Melody asks, "What is it about men that find it so important for their wife to have their last name?" And they talk about legacy and wanting to be able to, carry on their last name. I kind of feel like I don't know if was hyphenating her name not an option. So then Marcel goes into this long drawn out nothing about how if that was because Kimmy says that for Maurice that was a deal breaker. If she did not want to take Scott as a last name, he wouldn't have married her, but she was okay with it because her son has her maiden name. So her son is keeping, that family line going. And Marcel starts talking about if she knew that was a deal breaker, why did she go through with it? And Destiny was like, he never said that. So Marcel was like, I guess I'm just throwing stuff out. And she was like, yeah, you are. So then they have this discussion about him saying she has big dick energy. And it's like, she said something and it became out, when is there going to be a man that's able to pull the woman out of me? And then Marcel is getting ready to say something. He stops himself and it's like, nope, I'm a married man. And it's like, Tisha, girl, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. So, Destiny said that her and LeBaric are co-parenting in a way that works for him. So that means she allows him to like come over and spend time with the baby while she's at home just doing other things. So it's working for them in the way that it works for them. She says she's not currently dating. They make some jokes about whether or not she's going to date Kimmy and Maurice or date Jalen. And she says she would never do that. But she is open to dating. So then Louis and Tiffany join, and this is where shit gets real. Okay? So Louis and Tiffany come on, and you can see the energy shift with everybody. There's a definite energy shift. I think there's a definite energy switch whether they wanted to admit it or not. But you can just tell that people, like the cast, aside from like maybe Melody, aren't really feeling them. So Tiffany said the first week of her appearing on the show that the comments were hard and rough because people kept saying, we don't want to see them. We want to see, the core cast. And she said she's surprised she didn't jump off of her bridge because of the stuff that she got caught. Tiffany is a shit starter. And when Tiffany joined this show, she came in hot and heavy for no reason. So Tisha says that she does not feel that they put out real information about themselves. Marceau said they are bullshitting to not only the rest of the cast, but to the world. Kimmy joins in and says something about that too. Martell said that everybody on the cast is beating them up as if they have been on the show for 3 years and have not been, transparent about themselves in those 3 years. And Marcel brings up a very good point that they're giving us opinions like they have been here for the past 3 years. And I said, touche. Touche. So Kimmy said that they came in and started telling them about themselves, and it leads back to the conversation about Monster. And Maurice said he didn't understand why the kids were brought up at all because the way he looked at it was, we got some information about your kid. Let's go ahead and throw it out there. Which I agree. The way that Tiffany came in and the first thing that she said to Kimmy is, wasn't Monster the one vaping? That was weird. It was definitely weird. It was unnecessary to say. It's something that I just feel like you don't repeat anything you heard about somebody's child, especially if you don't really know them people like that. So then they talk about how Kimmy felt that everybody at the table was just kind of like shocked and didn't know anything about it. And then Maurice kind of felt like Melody, being a parent, should have defended Monster and Kimmy. My whole thing is kids vape, right? So it's a big deal for you to be talking about other people's kids like that. But the way that Maurice was acting as if this is going to tarnish his legacy and this is going to follow him around, I don't know if it's going to do that. But my whole thing is, don't talk about anybody else's kids. It was so unnecessary to do. Extremely, extremely, extremely unnecessary to do. So then they have a conversation about how Lewis, when they were there and they had the conversation, everything was fine. But then when they showed Lewis and Tiffany back home, it was, yeah, because if I would have had some shots, it would have went into another way. And we know what Lewis was implying. We know what Lewis was implying when he said that, but Lewis was moonwalking that ass back and forth across the stage, and he was like, no, I was just saying that, I would have still understood, but it would have went differently. No, you was saying that you would have been big bad Billy ass, and now you're acting like that's not what you meant by that. Stop it. And I think that's why people don't really rock with him, because Tiffany and Lewis do like to come across and act like they're so much better than everybody, and they're so transparent, and everything is not a big deal. Talk about your kids then. Talk about your kids. Don't talk about anybody else's kids if everything in your life is so transparent. Don't do that. So Kimmy brings up that she knows stuff about Tiffany too, and said Tiffany got fired from the chamber. So she was like the president of like a women's chamber down there. Tiffany like pauses and was like, no, I didn't get fired. Lewis smirks. So Kimmy said that she knows from a very reputable person. She has a very solid source. And yeah, you know, on some what? Yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that you did. You did get fired from it. So they asked Melody, how does Melody feel? Does she feel that Tiffany is being transparent? Melody said that she really only knows Tiffany in a business setting type of relationship. But she said from what she has seen with her in the personal, when people ask her questions, she does answer. And that's really how she leaves it, because you can tell Melody don't want to get involved in it because she does not have a problem necessarily with Tiffany. But I feel like that's also because Tiffany ain't putting her business out there or coming at her sideways about anything. So Marcel says that nobody on the cast is transparent, pointing to Marcel, pointing to Kimmy. So Carlos asks Marcel if Tiffany and Lewis have a successful marriage. And before that, Marcel said there's a difference in being transparent is if someone asks you a question and you answer it, that's being honest. Being transparent is we don't even have to ask you because we already know. And I said, I actually agree with that. I think that was a good note, because if y'all were that transparent, we wouldn't be asking you, was your son by your last husband? We wouldn't be asking you why your marriage got divorced, why your marriage ended in divorce, because you would have already said that without people trying to ask you. Tiffany came on here being messy boots, and the shit backfired on her, and then now she doesn't understand why people come at her the way that they do. And it's like, that's childish, girl, grow up. So when Carlos asked Marcel about Tiffany and Lewis's marriage, he said that, the first year of marriage is good. And like, you should have a successful first year. Nobody wants to fail in their first year of marriage. He said, but they have not they haven't shown any expertise, and they haven't shown anything about them being married that would lead anybody to believe that they're overly knowledgeable in it. So he said they were only been married for 11 months after their previous marriages failed. So Lewis takes the opportunity and says that because of that, he knows what to do right in a marriage. And Marcel uses the analogy of, if I lose 7 games, I can't say now I know how to win a game after I lost 7. And I felt that. Like, just because y'all both have been in a divorce does not mean that you're going to come into this new marriage and like not easily slip into and make the same mistakes that you guys were making before. Like, I don't like Tiffany and Lewis. I think Lewis does. My whole thing is with the pillow talking. If you can't trust your wife to not go run her mouth about something that y'all talked about, then don't tell her shit else. Because Tiffany was doing that to be a shit starter. So Tiffany then says that everybody has an opinion, just like everybody has an asshole. And Tisha says that every time a new couple joins the group, they feel like they need to give them marital advice, even though they have been married for the longest, and they need to put some respect on her motherfucking marriage. I said, really? Because I feel like Tisha likes to buck up after Marceau has said everything, and then she wants to come in and mic drop herself as if she been out here dropping knowledge. Just because you have the longest marriage does not mean it's the most successful, sweetheart. It does not. I'm Tammy. This has been Love and Marriage Huntsville. Hop down to the comment section down below. Let's talk about this, y'all.